Hello everyone and welcome to another special edition of CLX Foundry Live, where we are going to, at some point today, announce the winner of our drawing. I am your host, DJ BluePDX, and joining me, of course, today is our lead technical expert, that's Paul Steffens, and today's master builder, Zack Hillingsworth. Gentlemen, hi, how are you?
How are you?
Hey, doing good.
Good. So, I know everybody is absolutely panicked because they all want to find out who the winner is, and we are so excited to tell you that the winner is going to be announced in just a little bit, because first we had to make a slight schedule change, and we are going to be doing the giveaway build for March on Tuesday. And of course, Hayden is sad about this because, Zach is sad about this because Hayden got to build the last one, now he gets to build this one. But that being said, Zach still has better hair, so that's where we're at. Don't worry, if you have questions about anything that you hear today as far as terminology or otherwise, please make sure that you're asking in the chat. That's what we're here for. I will get answers from these two very qualified individuals. And of course, to find out all about the next giveaway, you're definitely going to be here on Tuesday, because that's when it's going to happen. But right now, guys, we've got a really cool build with an amazing motherboard that kind of a fascinating one for all of us, for Bradley in South Carolina. What are we putting in this build today?
We do. So Bradley configured one of our RAWs on our website. This is going to have a Ryzen 9 7950X processor going in an Asus Crosshair X670E Wi-Fi board. Really nice board. We're excited to show that off. 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, 1 terabyte 980 Pro M.2 with a 2 terabyte 2.5 inch for a storage drive.
Okay.
We've got a 4080 for the video card and a 1000 watt modular Gigabyte 80 plus gold power supply. This is all going in a silver Lian XL. So we'll grab that. Zach, actually, if you don't mind grabbing that case for me, I'm going to put the motherboard over here. I can pull that foam off. Yeah, thank you.
I am loving that they can all see the PC in the back there. That's great. The pink one.
Yeah, that's the one.
We're excited to share with you, but in order to avoid spoilers, we are going to pull it right in the middle of the show, and then we'll tell you all. We're so excited for you to be here. And then, of course, Tuesday, we've got some new things coming out about giveaways, how we're going to run them, and it's going to be really exciting. You know, always wanted to switch our game up. So tune in Tuesday. It's going to be wicked. Absolutely wicked. So right here, let's start with that motherboard. This motherboard is amazing. This is an Asus Republic of Gamer, or ROG, Crosshair X670E Hero. And this is one of the cooler boards I think I've seen from them when it comes to its design and structure. Not only from the incredible amount of heat sinks that it has on it, plus the RGBs light up, but it also has you guys' favorite feature, and I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, so this is a very high-end board, one of the top-of-the-line boards you can get right here. Obviously, it looks great. There's going to be all sort of RGB up here and down here, but the best feature about this board is this button right here. This is to release this PCIe clip, so it makes it really easy to get your card out. Pretty simple thing, but that's my favorite thing about it. But this board does look awesome.
One of the cool things about this board is the number of M.2 slots, and it is covered by multiple different heat sinks. And we've seen the heat sinks like we saw last week with some of them are just very thin strips, but this one seems to have more venting. Would you say corrugated? How would you phrase that?
Yeah, so I usually just say the slots carved in. This metal, once we get this M.2 cover off here, we'll show you, it is very tall. It's almost as tall as our heat sinks up here. So having those big vents allows the heat to travel up there and the air to flow through that and pull the heat away.
Nice. One thing, everybody was like, that I/O block is gnarly, and oftentimes with decent upper end boards, you get this kind of almost like business park-esque look to it. This thing looks like Avengers Center.
It does. Like the cutouts on this are like the thickest I've seen, I probably ever, on the M.2 and up here as well.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So a couple little factoids about this fun little guy. First of all, it can take, it's DDR5 with a max of 128 gigs of RAM. It can be overclocked up to 6400 for its speed in an overclock mode with a DDR5 RAM situation. But it also comes with some very interesting ports. So, taking a look at that, just to go through it, because I have questions for you. We have USB 3.2s, right? And we have 9 rear 3.2 Gen 2 ports, 1 USB 3.2 Gen 2 times 2, which is the USB-C, and then we have 2 USB 4s. What the heck is a USB 4?
So a USB 4 is these down here. They look like a Type-C connection, but it is the next generation of that, faster speeds, all that good stuff. I really like that it's called USB 4. I wish they just 4 to 5 to 6 rather than 3.1, 3.2, and so on. So I really like that. But that's what the 4 is. It's a Type-C connection that is more amped up, kind of like how a USB 3 compares to a USB 2.
And that's apparently, and from a speed perspective, if I remember correctly, it's 40 gigs bidirectional up and down.
Yeah, it's wicked fast.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It also comes with a Dragon port on it, obviously, with, I believe that is a 2.5 gig.
Yep. 2.5 gig
and
Ethernet connection. Yep.
And all these red ports are all 3.2s. Like that's absolutely wild. Yeah,
every like we said, this is a top of line board, so they really went all out with this. Yeah, there's no just regular 2.0 USB port on this. It's all fast.
Yep. All of these PCIe slots are 5.0 for the M.2 cards with the heat sinks. It's got an M.2 screw package for PCIe 5.0 M.2 card as well. It's got so many things I'm looking at here. What are some of the features that you find unique about this board that really stand out?
So number one is that button I mentioned about earlier, this right here. This releases that clip. Once again, it's a really simple, just mechanical button, but it really is nice as a builder. You can see how tall the M.2 heatsink is here. So if we had a big card in this, it'd be really hard to get your finger in there to press that clip down. A couple other things that are pretty fancy about this is we've got our start button here, so if you were just benching this and testing it, you could just press that. You wouldn't need to press the power button. Obviously not really too necessary once it's in your system, but it's really good to have for testing purposes. Got readout here for codes. All those codes will be in the book if you're getting errors, so that's really nice to have. Really, this just has all the bells and whistles. Yeah, that's
absolutely incredible. This thing, as far as connectivity is concerned, where did that? We've got Wi-Fi 6E on here, 2x2 Wi-Fi 6E also. Supports 2.4, 5, and the 6 gigahertz frequency. This also has Bluetooth 5.3. I didn't even know that, like, yeah, this is probably one of the most advanced boards I think we've had the opportunity to utilize, and it's absolutely incredible. And of course, it's going to be going in with a Ryzen 9 7950X. Now, on Tuesday's show, we did the 7950X 3D. So this is, I would say, the 2D version, the 2D brother of this. Let's talk about some of the stats with this and how impressive this processor is.
Yeah, so like you said, this is a Ryzen 9 7950X, brand new top of the line Ryzen here. This is a 16 core 32 thread using AMD's multi-threading technology. It has a base speed of 4.5 gigahertz and it can boost up to 5.7. So blazing fast processor here. This whole machine is just a beast. And this is the right board for this. Like we got the high-end processor going in a high-end board. This is gonna be a great machine.
Absolutely agree. Now, how many cores did you say this thing has again?
It's got 16 cores.
Okay.
And with multi-threading.
32 threads.
Yep, 32 threads.
So oftentimes we hear the difference. We hear both two different terms, which are essentially sort of the same thing, I guess. Hyper-threading versus multi-threading. Can you explain the difference and what that does?
Yeah, so really the difference there is just hyper-threading is for Intel's technology and multi-threading is for AMD. Same concept, getting 2 threads out of each core.
I did want to answer a question up here. Somebody asked, it was True of Peace. Hi, where do I get that jacket at 6? Thank you so much. Honestly, I agree. These windbreakers are incredible and they're super comfortable. Very great, got great colors. You got the logos on the shoulders. You have the option of purchasing any type of clothing merch with your purchase of a PC. It's all located on the very last page of the customization for your PC on the website. And in fact, we'll go over that mid-show right after we announce or right around the time we announce the winner. So, yeah, lots of fun. Fornium asks, how long are these streams usually? It depends. Usually hour, hour and a half-ish, right around there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, actually, for this portion, there are 2 portions of the stream. The stream total is, on the average, I think runs 4 hours.
Yeah, about 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Just kind of depends on how the second half of the show goes with the builds.
So we do an initial show here, and then we'll take a quick break while we look at the PC that we just built, and then we come back, and our builder of the day, which is Zack today, is going to go through for a couple hours on his own, just putting together new builds, putting together projects, and answering your questions from a technical standpoint. And once again, if you have any technical questions about what's going on or the things that we're talking about, please make sure you put them in the chat. I'm going to try and get a hold of these as fast as possible. Ripped BG, that is a ROG Crosshair X670E Hero. They're wonderful. And DressMax asks, where can I buy your PC? All you got to do is head on over to CLXgaming.com. All right, up next, we've got the thermal paste. Now, that looks like an upgrade.
Yes, so this customer has chosen an upgraded thermal paste for this, which is a great idea for this processor. So you can see Zack's applied that there. We're using Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut for our upgraded thermal paste. Gets great thermals out of it, which will enable this processor to boost up more than it could regularly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you can see Zack's got his retention kit on there for our AIO, so we'll go ahead and get into that next.
Got it. That is going to be a Quench 360 liquid AIO. Now that stands for all-in-one, but there are multiple different, well, there's 2 different types mainly of liquid cooling. What are the differences between the 2, and why is this a 360? Is it Xbox?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Makes you do a 360 and walk away, you know, the old Xbox joke. No, so this is a closed loop system. With liquid cooling, you typically have a closed loop or an open loop. So a closed loop refers to, we're not going to be opening this up at all. This is an AIO or all-in-one. So this already has coolant in it. All we have to do is install the bracket to mount it, install this, and we'll install some fans on this as well. And that's it. We just have to turn your machine on. No maintenance required. An open loop system is where we get into our custom tube bending. We can use hard tubes, soft tubes, and we create a whole loop that we then fill here and do all that. You've seen those on showcase systems. They look really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the differences there.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Sebrew, we just want to try and always cover all the basics in case anybody is unfamiliar with the term that we're using, and we do it every week. So yeah. Absolutely agree. Now, for example, I have, those of you like the 360, 3120 fans, I have a 120 liquid cooler in my gaming PC. And it has 2 fans on it, though, one on each side. And we'll talk about that, the airflow through these and how they function in just a bit. So right now we're getting that all tied on. What is how does this pumping work? Is that what Zack is connecting right now? Yeah,
so there is a wire coming out of our pump here, and that's going to go into our CPU fan header. Now, most boards nowadays will say CPU fan / AIO, or it might just say pump. You want to find that header and plug the pump into that one, because that's going to regulate voltage going to your pump and allow it to speed up or slow down depending on what your system needs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the M.2 next.
Because I definitely want to see these heat shields because we've got one M.2 going in, obviously. That M.2 is going to be a 1 terabyte Samsung 980 M.2 NVMe SSD. That's that little long chip right there that looks like a, well, it looks like a little long chip.
Stick of
But
gum.
these fit right in there.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, let's look at stick of gum.
Yep.
The 980 Pros, the 980 M.2s are absolutely fast. That's what I have in my system, and it's great. So you pulled the plastic off. You're gonna plug that little guy in there, right?
Yeah.
And then you use the clip, which is great because you're no longer having to screw these things down.
Yeah, this has that clip, and we've been seeing this a little bit more frequently now in the show where it's just a slider. Really like that. Saves you from having to work with a little tiny M.2 screw, so that clip is really nice. And so I've got this heatsink that's going to go on top of it in my hand here. So we can show you this and how tall it really is. This is a lot thicker than most of the heat sinks that we've used. So you can see the heat will flow up here and go into these cutouts, and then our case fans will be blowing air through there, taking that heat away.
Gotcha. So, yeah. Now, as far as the design on this is a unique heatsink design that I have not. We haven't seen anything like this before.
For the motherboard, sorry, DJ.
Yeah, no, for the heatsink for the motherboard, the way that it's designed, that actual way the standing is on it is very different from the ones we've seen previously. We've seen a lot using heat pipes, but this is a different kind of a spreader.
Yeah, it is. It's more of a solid chunk of metal with more fins cut out. Like I said, these cutouts on the fins are usually a little bit thinner. Now these are pretty beefy, so that will allow more heat to get up into those fins and then be taken away.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's an efficiency thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
The heat sinks now have also become just a really good aesthetic on the board too. So they really take that into consideration on the design of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I absolutely love. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at all the comments. Yo, that heatsink is fat. That's thick. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And up next, I believe we're going to be popping in the RAM.
Correct. Yep.
So let's take a peek at that. That is going to be two 16 gig sticks of Kingston DDR5 5200 RAM, which is a total of 3200. Now you can see that there are 4 slots on the board, and they're obviously going in. Well, I'll ask Zach to explain which ones do you choose and why do you choose them. So
with 2 sticks of memory, we want to populate the second one and the furthest one out, and those are just the pre-allocated channels for a dual channel system. If we were rocking just 1 stick of RAM, we would only populate that slot there. But with 2, we're going to populate those guys.
So evens first, odds second.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
nice.
And you can always look at your motherboard manual to, make sure it's that way. Now, like we said, 99% of the time, this is going to be the way. But, if you're building a PC on your own, definitely, look at your motherboard manual. It'll tell you if you got 1 stick, 2 sticks, 4 sticks, how to plug those in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because for those of you who are new here, I tell lots of horror stories about my first time trying to build my streaming PC. Well, for my first streaming PC, and I remember not understanding why it didn't recognize the RAM because I put it in slots 1 and 2, like an idiot. PC was like, no, that's not how this works. Oh yeah, that was, and I like, you have no idea the amount of times that I had to take that motherboard in and out and in and out and in and out because we had the IO shield because it had a separate IO shield. It wasn't built onto the board.
Oh yeah.
So of course you have all the little tines, and I was popping into the backside, and I didn't put them in. So all of a sudden they're inside my Ethernet port. They're inside my USBs. It's just like, ugh. So lots of mistakes, and it's easy to make mistakes when you're doing this. That's why it's great to have shows like this where we've got professionals who do this daily, building it out for you and answering any questions you might have. So. Julie's like, yeah, it happened to me.
Yeah, I think we all went through it when we first started. I know I definitely did that, and just finding the connections. Then I'd be like, have to figure out where to run my wires and all sorts of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, my first streaming PC took 6.5 hours to build, and it was very, very simple. Worst cable management ever.
Yeah.
Ever. There we go. Now, let's talk about these fans because these fans are really cool and they're different than what we usually put in here. So, Bradley ordered 10 Thermaltake Ring 120mm green LED lights.
Yeah. So these are the Thermaltake greens, fans, like you mentioned. Yeah, for our fans. These are really great performing fans. I really like these. Thermaltake was kind of at the beginning of this ring design for the LEDs. So yeah, something unique about this, these are just green. These are not RGB fans. These green fans do look great. Mm-hmm. And the airflow they push out is excellent.
Gotcha. Now, you're screwing them onto this side. Let's talk about airflow patterns and what type of a system or arrangement this is.
Yeah, so we're mounting our fans here. This radiator is going to be mounted to the top of the case, so these fans will be pushing air through the radiator and out the top. So this is a push method because we're pushing air through the radiator. If we had these fans mounted on the back of the radiator, we would be pulling air through it, and that would be a pull. So I've got one of those fans here in my hand, though, just to show you guys how to tell which way the air is blowing. So if you're looking at a fan, you see this front side here, you can't see any grill, usually the prettier side of the fan. And if we go here on the back, you can see this fan grill and usually the wires come in. So out of the side with the grill is where the air is going to come out of. So this is our exhaust. So if you're looking at this side, this is the front and this is where air comes in. We used to have arrows printed on the fans showing fan direction, but that's kind of gone away now. I mean, it's pretty easy to tell. If you know to just look for the grill and that's the way the air is coming out, it's easy enough.
Now, as a push system, that's one way of doing it. And I have like I mentioned, I have a 120 with 2 fans on it. I have a push-pull. So fans can also go on the other side. Yeah.
So if there's room in your case and you want to add fans, you can put fans on both sides of your radiator and you will get a better cooling performance out of that.
Yeah. Of course, green going with a great theme for the month since St. Patty's Day is coming up.
I love these greens. Once we get on, the green on these fans look really good.
So Max Not Jacked asked an interesting question. Any recommendations for adding RGB to an RGB-less system? So there's no RGBs in the system, but I feel like Jack wants more.
Yeah, so if you've got just black fans, no color in your system at all, and you're wanting to just do the least amount of maintenance and installing RGB, there's a lot of light kits you can get, where they're LED strips and they're usually powered by a SATA, and that way you don't have to uninstall anything. If you're comfortable uninstalling and getting in your machine, you can find there's a million different options of RGB fan kits that are great. Yeah. So really the sky is the limit with RGB now.
And I did see somebody mention earlier about talking about the posts, obviously. So let's talk about those. These are the little pieces that are attached to the frame that the motherboard sits on.
Yeah, our standoffs here.
And so, again, when you're looking at the board, how do you go about telling where the standoffs are to be screwed into on the board itself?
So what's nice with motherboards and cases is it is standardized by form factor. So we have ATX, which is what this case and motherboard are, full length, standard size. Then you have MATX and ITX, 2 smaller versions. There's also EATX, that's a little bit wider of an ATX board. But what we're looking for here are these standoffs. Now most cases now are going to come with our ATX standoffs pre-installed, which these ones have. But you don't just want to trust that and just throw your board in there. You definitely want to look in here and make sure those standoffs are in correctly, because if you do have a standoff in your system but there's not a hole on your motherboard, that standoff's going to make contact with your motherboard and could short some things out.
Yeah.
So we've got, our 3, this one has 9, 3 at the top, 3 in the middle, and 3 in the bottom. So our motherboard will be set on top of those and we'll get it screwed in. And something else we're going to be doing, because this graphics card is bigger, we're going to be putting in an anti-sag bracket. And
awesome.
The ones that we're using are actually going to screw into our standoff. So Zach's getting that ready now.
Perfect.
And that's going to use the bottom right standoffs.
Now, just to clarify, the places that are going to be screwed in, you see the holes that have the silver rivets. I guess we'd say the what do you call that? It's insulation, or
solder pots.
Yeah,
solder pots. There we go. That's a great word. The solder pots. Perfect.
So that's going to provide an extra grounding point too for each of those screws. So you can see there, those ones that are closest to the camera with that kind of red washer under them, those are almost like a standoff extension, and we put those in. That's going to secure the motherboard, but it's also going to allow us to put a bracket on top of that for our GPU holder.
We got another question about the jacket. You can purchase the merch, from t-shirts to jackets, including this windbreaker and others similar to it, on the very final tab on the website, and we'll show you that when we go over the website right after we announce the winner. And you can get that when you purchase your PC. And there you go. there may or may not be plans for creating other pathways later on in life. One can hope. Cross your fingers. Yeah, and as for building up the anticipation, I know everybody's just jumping on it. They want to know who won that. Trust me, we want to know who won that, but we want to get through a little bit more of Bradley's build here. So you mentioned anti-sags. So let's talk about the different types of anti-sag and how these help the life longevity of the motherboard as well as the video card.
Yeah, so we started running into an issue when the cards were getting bigger, where the card would be mounted like it usually is, but the right side, if you're looking inside the case, the right side of the video card would droop down, and that could cause some damage to that PCIe slot, or sag down, hence anti-sag. So there's been a lot of different methods to kind of correct that, but the best one that we've seen so far is a kit like this. There's a bunch of different ones, but this is actually mounted to the case and will hold that right side up. I'm unboxing this video card here to see if Gigabyte put one in here that I can show you what they send as well.
There we go.
That box did not want to open.
And again, for anybody who missed that announcement for the video card, it is an RTX 4080. This is a 16 gig graphics card. These are beefy, high performance cards. They're all part of the new 40 series designs. In fact, recently, what up, Scarecrow? And recently, we actually got a chance to talk about the new 4070 Ti just came out. So, lots of different options. That is a huge card.
Yeah,
My God.
Yeah, this card is huge. This is a Gigabyte gaming OC. So this is a 16 gig card. And
Talking about a fat card. Good going.
Yeah, we will definitely need an anti-sag bracket for this. Let me get this plastic off and I'll show you guys a little bit more of it.
You said this is the Gigabyte, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get the fun part of peeling all the plastic off.
As far as, I would say as far as positive features on this, let's talk about the ports and talk about that cooling center.
Yeah. So we have, let me show you, let me get this up close. So you can see here's our outputs here. We've got one HDMI and 3 display ports. And this card is ginormous. This is at least a 4-slot card.
Yeah, it is a 342 length, 150 width, and a 75 millimeter height.
It is a big boy. And now these fans in here, you can see if you look inside, there are these little clear things, and that's going to be RGB as well, which will light up, which will look really nice.
All right. Just an FYI, yes, they did just update drivers. You always want to keep your graphics drivers updated, especially with the latest and greatest in all things gaming. Always helpful. Now, one thing I want to point out on this, while we've got it at this angle, because we just had on a really great shot there, notice that the board doesn't sit on the back of the case. Now, this is a Lian Li thing, and I really haven't seen anybody else do this aside from them, and they're really, really good at it. If we can go back to that front shot, so we can see the back of that. If you notice where the I/O shield is, there's a giant gap on the bottom. So you see the 2 doors, and then there's an open space. What are they? Tell them what's behind those doors.
Yeah,
what's
so
behind door number 1?
We are actually very prepared for this question today. So these 2 doors that you see right here, these are for our extra drives. So each of these has 2 bays for a 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch extra storage drive. These are hot swappable, which we will get back to in just a sec. And this open area is for our power supply here. Now what this does is allows all the motherboard and all the other components to be on this side of the case, and none of that heat from the power supply. It's going to get its own fresh air in from the back and exhaust it out this hole. So that just gives us a really good case design. But going back to those hot swappable bays, we took one out of a system so we could show you a little bit better here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So if we can go to the overhead real quick. We were having kind of a hard time showing these bays and how they work. Now you can see deep inside there, you see those SATA connections you've got just like for a regular hard drive. So the one on the right is obviously for power and the left is for data. So what we're
SSD.
Yeah, this SSD is a 2.5 inch. So the way it mounts to the tray, it'll just slide in and connect. Now these these bays have cables already pre-ran. We can go back to the front right here. So we will have these plugged into our motherboard and our power supply, so that if this customer does want to add any more drives, we can do that.
And there's no worrying about wiring or having to reconnect things. You just screw it into the tray and slide it right on in. In fact, we're going to be screwing in a 2 terabyte Samsung 870 QVD solid state drive into the tray that goes there. I'm really glad you guys pulled one of these out because, it was difficult to see inside of there, but
yeah,
dang.
we can never get the light. It was Zach's idea, so kudos to Zach. Yeah, this is just great. I love this design. It allows us to plug these in. Even if we weren't having an external, or not an external, but a secondary drive in this system, we'll always plug in these SATA connections, power and data. That way it's easy for the customer to just slap in a drive in the tray and slide it in. Doesn't have to worry about opening up the machine at all, running any wires. It's just a really good design.
All right. Now, while he's getting those cables out, I figured, y'all have been really, really patient. And I figured maybe it's time to announce the winner.
Ooh.
Who all would like to know who won this? Now,
This beautiful
just so you're
machine.
aware, the winner has been drawn, and they have 24 hours to reply. If they do not, we draw again. So, here we go. The winner of the powder pink PC giveaway that you can see back there with the custom keyboard by Glorious Gaming is on Twitter. Their name is Celestin, and on Twitch it is Willowbard. Do we have Celestin, also known as Willowbard, in the chat right now? If we do, awesome.
Ooh.
If not, don't worry, because they're going to be notified, and they have 24 hours to claim to claim it. Are they in here? Did I miss them? I keep looking for the name.
I know, I do too. I'm like, come on.
But yeah, I know, right? That'd be so awesome if they were in here. And so congratulations to Celestin and Willowbard, and hopefully they claim it. If not, don't worry, we're gonna do another drawing for it if that happens in that way. Now, just because this one's over doesn't mean you don't have a chance to win this month. Now, of course, March, we're going to be building that system out on Tuesday. You'll get to see what we're going to be putting into it and who some of our partners are that are going to be helping us with our entire system giveaway, which is absolutely amazing. And, of course, it's all brought to you by CLX Gaming. And, of course, we had help from several other partners as well, including Kingston and Glorious Games.
Yep, so, Kingston, Glorious, and Fantech. So big thanks to them for providing
the
components.
Yep. So Sage and Sus, it is their name is Celestin on Twitter, also known as Willowbard, and that is who won at the moment. Again, it takes 24 hours for them to respond, and then we will check it out. So, yes. That being said, I do want to cover into what Zach's doing right now with regards to cable management, because this also goes into what you were talking about with the with that airflow.
Yeah.
Because of the way the board sits and making sure you've got these separated bays, that's going to allow for a cooler environment up front.
Right, yeah. So this is going to have 10 fans in the system, which is the max we can put in this case. Now, technically, if we had room on the motherboard, we could do 13 and do a push-pull on the radiator. But we're not going to do that. That's a little, haven't seen that done. But so you can see Zach pulled the plates out here. This is the optional area for fans right here. You can see those plates we're in. So sometimes we'll do this configuration in a 7 or a 10. But either way, for 7, we do 3 in the bottom, 3 in the top, and 1 in the rear. But for this case, we're going to do all that with 3 extras right here. So this is going to give us 3 extra intake fans. So our intake will be right here and on the bottom, with our exhaust being out the top and out the rear.
Awesome. And that's a great thing. Now, one thing while we've got it off, why don't you pull out that bottom tray so we can show people how this is filtered, because it's kind of genius when it comes to keeping the inside of your system clean. Obviously, you want to make sure that you are keeping as much stuff out of your fans possible. That's where these come in. What is that? And how does it work?
Yeah, so this is a dust filter. Now this one has a tray it slides into on the bottom here. Very easy to put in just like that. And then around the top we have a magnetic one, which I've got right here. I'll show you. Just like this. And all you gotta do is just throw it up there, line it up, and you're good. And then there's 2 more of these on the other openings on the back. I love this design. I'm glad that most cases are going this way now, because all you have to do is just pull those filters off, wipe them down, rinse them off, whatever you need to do to clean them, and just put them back on. So it's very easy to keep a clean system. Yes, yeah, definitely put them on, put them on dry if you run them underwater.
We do have a question coming in from Emirati. What's the most fans, the highest amount of fans that you've ever put into a PC?
So that would be most likely in our Fantex Elite case. That is a giant tower. It might be twice as tall as this O11 here, maybe even a little bit more. And we've probably put, man, I don't know, 30 fans in them, maybe 20, 26 maybe. I mean, it's a ton. It's got all sorts of room. You can push pull. We see a lot of open loop builds done on that with our custom liquid cooling. And once you get into that, you usually have a couple radiators that you can push pull on. Sometimes the radiators are double wide, so you'll have like 6 fans on a 360 length. Side. Yeah, it can get nuts.
Now, as we're putting in here, obviously it's going to take quite a bit to power all of these fans, but these are not RGBs. So do they have to go through the same kind of a lighting connector, or do these just go right to the board? Right,
so these will just go right to the board. Since they're not RGB, we won't have a controller that will be on the remote. These have just a standard fan header, 3-pin right here. And
yeah, so that's what I was wondering, because I thought it was interesting that we don't have to have a lighting kit.
Yeah, yeah. It makes the tie-up a little bit easier, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Insanity in Style says, asks, what temp does that even run at? Are you talking about the Elite? Those Elite cases can get pretty freakishly hot. In fact, when we go to talk about the website here in just a few, I'll make sure that we pop over to the Elite so you can see that case.
Yeah.
It's absurdly huge.
Yeah,
but
we've
it's also
had customers
gorgeous because the open loops in there are just awesome.
The open loop designs on those look so good. It's funny, we'll get some orders that will just be, you know, a closed loop build with an AIO like this, and it almost looks, you have like a giant motherboard in there, but it almost looks like an ITX board because there's so much room. We've had customers order that chassis in a regular build, and they'll, like, one that I saw, he had like a Gundam huge model that just sat in there. It was a really cool look.
I would build it and put Master Chief in there.
Yeah, you could fit a big Master Chief in there. You could fit a Master Chief, a Warthog in there. You could fit a few things.
Just hang a very small Phantom from the top.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, honestly, now that I'm thinking of different ways to decorate stuff, that's even better. As you can see, Zach going over there, getting that nice little bit of adrenaline as he pops off all those clips, all those tips. Says it's a dopamine high that he enjoys.
Oh yeah.
So I did see 3 fan cables hanging down in front of the motherboard. How do those work?
So these,
how are we going to connect those?
Well, these will be plugged into the motherboard. Now we do have some splitters that will allow us to share motherboard headers on the board, so that will go in there. Now these will get routed behind the radiator, and then Zach will find the fan headers. The fan headers are different on each board on where they're located, so we'll find one in a way that this tie-up looks neat and the cables are out of the way.
Valiant King says, I have Gundam and Master Chief in mind.
Nice. Nice.
That is even better.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, you can post. Yeah, we'd like to see that. Post some pics in our Discord.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if you want to hang out and always find out the latest and greatest on what's going on in the community, aside from just our socials, which is CLX Gaming for YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, you should also head over to our Discord, discord.gg/CLX Gaming. I know, it's really easy to remember. But while you're there, we love to see your pictures of your setups. If you've got a CLX system, throw it in there. We'd love to see it and say hi. If you've got questions for, options, or you want to discuss things that you're considering upgrading, hit the Discord. We're in there oftentimes. So just DKP. It's a person. Her name is Celestin. And on Twitch, she's Willowbard. So they have been notified. They have been notified, to my understanding, and now we're just waiting for the response for them to claim it. And of course, if they do, congratulations! We're so excited. And if not, then if they don't claim it, then we will draw again. Yes. You just got to follow the redemption, the claiming rules on the Surf site. There we go.
Just DKP. That's the old rating currency for WoW.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if people still use DKP now, but yep, that's what I think of.
Yeah, Willowbard. I am honestly, I would not be surprised, but I'm also would be impressed with the amount of dedication it takes to be a consistent D&D player. It's a lot of time involved. But then again, you know, also coming from a guy who spent how many hours playing everything in Mass Effect. So, I mean, I really can't point fingers. Yo, Dusty DJ. Welcome. Yes, we have a winner, but they have not claimed it as of yet. So, but you want to tune in on Tuesday because we're going to be building our brand new build. And we'll be talking about the new way we're going to be doing stuff with codes this month. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're keeping it live and we're keeping it different. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. Absolutely. I'm also loving the reflective piece on the on that main heatsink.
Yeah, right.
On the board.
It's like a little mirror you could use right now.
Just wait until it glows.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now here's something. While we've got this shot there, let's talk about the ports available on the case itself.
Yeah, so we've got, you can see up here, I'll pull this plastic off too. So we have 4 regular USBs and 1 Type-C. Now there's 2 up here. Oops, sorry, Zach. And then we've got 2 down here at the bottom. You can see right there.
Yep.
And then our Type-C, and then our mic and headset ports up front.
Gotcha. One thing to notice that's great about the Lian Lees is that they have 2 bar feet at the front and the back that raise it up and give you a little bit of distance to make sure that you've got proper adequate airflow to be pulled up inside the case. Heat rises, obviously, and then it'll be exhausted out the top and the back. Mm-hmm. But the one thing you want to be careful of is to not necessarily sit this or your PC in general on carpet because you risk a thing called static electric shock. Now, Paul, what are some best practices for avoiding that happening if you do have to have it on the ground or on the carpet?
Yeah, so if you're if you've got your system on carpet or it needs to be on the floor that's carpeted, the easiest thing you could do would be to cut out a piece of cardboard about the size of your PC and just set it on there. If you've got a sheet of wood laying around or a few tiles to put it on, that will help. That will compress the carpet down and still leave you the gap between the feet and the bottom of the PC to get that fresh air in.
Yeah. Yep. Very helpful indeed. Mm-hmm. And definitely don't put it on shag carpet.
Yeah, you don't want your PC to be a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, no, it's a bad thing to have happen. Yeah. All right, so now we've got the fans going onto this lower tray. What I love about this is the versatility of this. You mount them onto there, you just run them through, put it back on, it all screws down. You're not having to do one fan, so if you have to replace something, you can pull the whole tray out instead of, you know, bumping around in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the tray design is awesome, being able to pull that out and have the space to mount your fans and then put that in.
Nicole's over here saying carpet PCs are OP. Welcome to the new Dyson PC. No.
This thing sucks.
Right?
Yeah.
So I used to, ironically, this is way back when I had hair, I worked at Bed Bath & Beyond, and of course they sold Dyson vacuums, and every time somebody would come and say, hey, we're looking for a vacuum, do you have any recommendations? I said, well, honestly, go with the Dysons. They suck. Wait.
Hey.
What? I said, listen, that's the only thing that you should ever be wanting to hear about a product when it's a product that's a vacuum.
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah. I loved them. Honestly, but like ours has lasted, my housemate and I have a Dyson, and it has lasted us for, I want to say 9 years. Still just bangs away. It's awesome. Thank you, Cherry Falls. Hope you're having a great day too. Oh, not Dyson, the piece. Oh, that. Huntress over here. Most expensive vacuum. You're referring to the PC. Yes. Please don't use your vacuum as a PC.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just imagining somebody sliding the PC with the fans on full across their floor and then back around. Let's see how much this can actually catch.
Yeah. Back in the day, we did have a
that's
machine that you
hilarious.
could mount wheels to. It was so big. It was the half
God.
942, I think. I think Cooler Master made it. Half 942. Thing came with wheels you could mount, which was pretty cool.
Cooler Master's got some big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting all the cables pulled in through the back.
I love
So
these
do you
fans.
want?
Man,
Yeah. Do you
the
want to
green
talk
looks
about?
great.
Now let's. So while he's doing this, let's pull out that power supply unit and let's take a look at that, so that when we're going to cable management, we can go run over to the website.
Yeah. So we've got a.
So
Oh, go ahead, DJ.
go ahead. Oh, I was to say we've got a 1,000-watt Gigabyte. It's a UD1000 GM 80 plus gold power supply, and it looks like it has no cables.
Correct. Yeah, this thing is fully modular. This is a 1,000-watt Gigabyte 80 plus gold, fully modular. So none of the cables are pre-soldered in. And what this allows us to do is just pick out the cables that we need specifically for this build and only install those. Now, from a functionality standpoint, that's less cables in your system to have less restriction on airflows. But also just from an aesthetic point of view, it gives us a cleaner tie-up. Just makes your system overall look cleaner. And we will include the extra cables in case the customer ever needs those. They upgrade their machine, add stuff to it. They will be the extra cables included.
So, Zach, from a, I would say, cable management standpoint, do you prefer working with non-modular as opposed to semi or full modular power supplies?
I really enjoy modular power supplies. They're just that much easier to tie up because you don't have excess. And excess cables is, just one thing that makes tie up that much more difficult. So
Well, and if you've got
just
a
alleviate that, that's real nice.
And if you've got a top, like I have the case that I have for my PC is very different than Lian Lee. It's underneath this tray. On the bottom is where the hard drives and the power supply is. But that tray is always hot because the one that they used was a fully non-modular. Oh, yeah, fully non-modular. All the cables that are in there, and there are a ton that are unused, are just shoved in the bottom. So there's no airflow going through there at all. Yeah. Is that PC for sale? This one? Yeah, actually, well, this has been sold. This is going to be going to Bradley in South Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want this machine, if you'd like to buy it, we went over the specs, and we'll show the whole spec list at the end too. So if you want to configure it, you can.
And we can even put that link in chat too if you want to take a look at it. Or make some slight adjustments so that it meets your needs.
Yeah, you could
fact,
decide you want all this and then pick the different fans or whatever.
Now, when it comes to, and I just want to speak on this one more time, the airflow direction that happens, let's talk about the direction of it, because I misunderstood the whole reason why GPUs had the fans on the bottom. It didn't make sense to me because I was like, oh, I want to see the fans on top because they're spinning and something to watch and my ADD is solved. But that's not actually the most efficient way to do it. So let's explain why that works out the way it does.
Yeah, so we have the fans on our GPU here. Now, like we mentioned earlier, the way you can tell which way the air is going to flow on fans is which way the grill's on. So you don't see a grill on here. So these fans are going to be blowing air onto this card. This will be mounted obviously like this in the case. So it's going to get fresh air from the intake out the bottom and then have that blown into the card. But these fans will also blow it through the card and out. You can see we've got our ventilation here. They've extended the heat pipes out quite a bit on this card, so that heat can flow here and then get exhausted out the other side of the case.
Gotcha. Now, while we're looking at that, I just want to bring up one other thing because it looks like there's a lot of cooling on that graphics card. That seems to be the majority of the chunk, or the chunk for it. So, what goes into a graphics card?
Yeah, so we've got a test card or a sample card or whatever you want to call it, a card up here that I like to use to show really what goes into a video card and what it is. So before I show that, I'm going to point out on this card. We'll go ahead and get to our side shot here in just a sec. But what we're going to be looking at is the PCB on this card, which is the actual, you know, where all the surface mount components and the GPU is attached. Now you can see it's kind of this orange line here that comes out to about right here, but our card is way longer to allow for those heat pipes. So I've got a 1050 Ti here that is dead and out of warranty. So I've unscrewed the cooler, and we'll go ahead and take this off and show you what is actually under all this. So under it, we've got a fan header connection for our fans. Obviously, every card's gonna have that. But this is all the GPU is. You can see it right here with the thermal paste on it, and then we've got our memory chips right around here. And that's all this is. So if I were to take this, this big 4080, if I were to take this cooler off, it would be just as thin as this. Now the PCB would be a little bit longer.
That's so wild.
But yeah, this is all it is. So when you're looking at the beefiness of a card like this, it's really all to deal with the heat that it generates.
Which is fascinating to think about.
It is, it really is.
Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us that.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously we've got a massive difference in height for the card. Is that 4080 going to be a 3 or 4? Looks, I mean, I would imagine it's a 4.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a 4 slot, and the way this cover comes out for the fans, it might even extend out to a 4.5, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a big card.
Absolutely amazing. Well, while we're doing that and getting everything else set up, and he's got that down like there, let's take a second. Probably should have typed to Jason and said, hey, we should do this next. But let's take a second and look at our website. At CLXgaming.com, we try and make it as easy as possible and fluid as possible to get the PC that meets your needs. That is going to be able to be designed the way you want it designed. From processors to motherboards, graphics, GPUs, and hard drives, we've got basically everything you could possibly need to build one. Don't worry, you don't have to be an expert in order to use our site. In the event that you happen to select something that's not necessarily compatible with other components, you're going to notice that green button on the top go from add to cart to solve conflict. When it does this, it will provide you with answers and options to resolve the conflict live on, we're going to show that here in just a second.
We're trying to make a
the one moment
conflict.
when
Yeah, right? Like, find something that doesn't work.
For example,
No,
if you
okay.
choose a DDR5 board with DDR4 RAM, you'll see where it says solve conflicts. And all you have to do is click on that, and it will give you the options of these are the motherboards that are compatible, or this is the RAM or the processor that's compatible. It'll allow you to fix the conflicts so that you've got everything functional and working. There's also a chat button on the lower right-hand side that allows you to speak directly with our tech support and customer service, which can help walk you through the steps and answer any specific questions you might have. We also have phone support, which is great and very, very, very helpful. I don't know what happened right there. The best part about this, though, is if you're just not comfortable, well, actually, before we do that, let's go. Well, yeah, if you're not comfortable building your own PC, don't worry. We have tons of pre-builts in the system. Sorry, Jason. We have tons of pre-builts in the system that are ready to ship. They've already been tested. They're in their box. They're looking for a home, and that home might just be with you. As you can see, everything from gaming to design systems, you name it, we've got it. We've even got special editions with custom designs on them that will match anything from your stream to your design to your esports team, or just whatever art you want. Now, back on this page, I want to go down to the end for accessories and peripherals, because we've had this question several times, and people have asked about the jackets. And if you take a look, once you've ordered your PC, you can go all the way down here and select everything from t-shirts to sweatshirts. These are these amazing windbreakers. As you can see, we've got this giant CLX logo on the here. They're heavy, but they're not hot. They're like, I love wearing it. It's perfect. It keeps you at all the right temperatures in all the right places. So for all of your PC needs, all you got to do is head right on over to CLXgaming.com. I think that was my strangest one we've ever done.
As you see, I believe we got Willow in the chat.
Willow! Welcome, Willow board! Hi! Congratulations, you're the winner of our Powder Pink PC. Yay! Welcome to the show, by the way.
Congrats. I believe I saw they were pulled over at a gas station, which is hilarious right now. Yeah. So that's some good news to get right there.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Well done. And they'll walk you through that. So Willowbard, SMK, Willowbard is our winner. And we're super excited that they won, and they're going to work on claiming that now. So congratulations. That is great. And that means we've got so many more people who are now going to be jumping in for our March giveaway that's going to be coming up on Tuesday. Look at that. Look at that beautiful PC. That is Willowbard's PC with that glorious gaming custom keyboard that was assembled live right here. I'm always afraid that I'm going to put keys in the wrong spot. I would need an outline to going like, hey, this is where these all go.
I overestimated my keycap abilities. It took me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was really fun to put together, so yeah. I'm sure we'll do more.
And if I'm not mistaken, that powder pink is available right now.
Yes, yep. You can order that on our website. Mm-hmm.
If you want a powder pink PC design, we've got them already there. So you can choose it, pick it, build it out your own specific way. Doctor, honestly, all you need is one entry, and you are in the drawing for the PCs. But you can get more all over the place. You took yours apart last night to clean it and added dampeners. Okay. Took pictures of it so you could make sure the keys were back in the right spot. Excellent. Excellent idea.
Nice.
It's funny. We often tell people to take pictures of their cable management on the backside if they have to, add something, take something out, or swap something, like a fan goes bad or whatever. If you take a picture of your cable management before you take things apart, you'll know how to put it all back together. Yeah, it's completely random. That's how it works. My son is going to be so jealous. He's building his own PC right now. Well, mom's about to walk in and be like, yeah, that's cute. Look what I got.
That's funny.
But, Mom, that plays Fortnite better.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Alrighty, so we are ready to throw in the video card on this. I'm going to hand this off to Zach.
Now, I notice it's laying down. Is it easier to put this in when the case is laying down like that simply because of how large and heavy it is?
Yeah, when you're working with a card this large, you don't want to just have that PCIe clip, the only thing that holds it in. On a smaller card, it's okay because you'll get the screws in there. But on this, we want it to be laying down. That way we've got gravity helping us out. We'll make sure this clips in and go ahead and screw it down.
Okay.
Yeah, you need the tool, the pick.
So, what is this because it's just so thick?
Yeah. So really, if we had this standing up, you could definitely install it in there. You just kind of want to keep one hand supporting it until you get the two screws in the back mounting it that you can see Zack tightening right now. And then once we have those screws down, that's when we finish off the anti-sag bracket. You can see there at the top of your screen. You can see those holes. There's a tray that's going to hold it, that's going to sit on there, and we'll slide it up and make sure it's supporting and then screw it down into that bracket.
Gotcha. And yeah, we're all gamers here. It's gamers, geeks, and nerds. That's what we do. I also qualify as a dork, so own it.
Yeah,
all I say is own
nerds.
it. Yep. All right, so now we've got that brace in there. You've attached the bracket that's going to prevent that sag on the far end. And honestly, with something this large and heavy, it definitely needs it.
Yeah, so he's got the hardware ready. It's about, here we go, about to go in there.
And when you compare it to the graphics card that we installed on Tuesday to that system, you did mention that it was shorter. And now, as I'm seeing this, that was a lot shorter.
Yeah. That one we did on Tuesday, that's more of the standard video card size. That's the size I like, just because it's really easy to work with. But that does also just come down to your case. So a case like this that has a lot of room, I mean, this card is just as easy to install as that one we did on Tuesday.
Awesome. Willowbard's going to continue driving and trying to calm down. The prize has been claimed. We're so excited. Congratulations once again. Absolutely epic. And the Dirty Yankee, yes, I call this Dolphin Smooth. That's that's my hairstyle.
I was like, what on this computer is dolphin smooth? And I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, yep. Be safe and have fun with it. Once again, huge shout out to Glorious, Fantex, and Kingston for contributing to that giveaway. The Glorious custom keyboards. You can find more at gloriousgaming.com. You can also check out Kingston and Fantex at kingston.com and fantex.com. Awesome. Now we're getting that power supply unit pop back in there. Now with this having the 10 fan lineup and the plates have been removed on that backside where the graphics card is slightly overlapping, let's cover airflow direction. Where are these fans coming in or going out from?
Alrighty, so our intake fans are here in the bottom and here in the back. So we've got 3 right here and 3 right here. Easy way to tell, once again, you can see these fan grills, so we know air is coming in this way. And then we'll be exhausting out the top and the back of the case. I always struggle with back because sometimes back's over here, sometimes back's here, but yep, being able to show it is a little bit easier. I said it probably a couple times already on the show, but the green on these Thermaltake fans look excellent. So
yeah. Also, I can't believe I just typed in 3 ways wrong. Got specials. There you go. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the special editions page of our website, and you'll get a chance to take a look at all the different offerings. And to be fair, there's a bunch. This is not a small category. You know, sometimes like, hey, we have a blue one and a red one. There is multiple different styles and designs that we've got here. Everything from the CLX Vice to the Sakura, which is gorgeous. It's a cherry blossom design. We've got the CLX Raw, which is brilliant and red. Plus, we've got different colored variants of those. So, because for the raw editions, those come in either, you can get that in gold, green. Wait, do we still have a green? Green is what? Horus. Green is Horus. We've got, for raw, we've got the red and we've got the gold. On the raw editions, on the Horus editions,
like, oh, no.
We've got the green ones. There's just so many options. I absolutely love it. If you go to the actual website and you head on over to the custom build your own, you'll be able to see the chassis and take a look at them. There are multiple different sizes. So if you want something smaller, which I believe is called an ITX.
Yeah, ITX is the smallest one. Those are our scarabs. Yep.
Yeah. So there's many different sizes, and every different size you could think of that will meet your needs. I love the design on the top right there. That it's so great. Kyle does an incredible job designing these things. They're always spectacular.
Yeah,
always. That's a great shot of that green one on the outside. Now, as you can see, if we back it up 2 slides right now, I want to point out that the back of the PC itself. There we go. Now that design back there that you can see, that actually is vented. So when he says those the 3 on the back pull in, those are vented. And yeah, Emrati, I was gonna try and get to that talking about the green because you'd mentioned it, and of course it's March. St. Patty's Day is coming. Anybody who needs a green PC, that green machine is pretty mean. I dig it.
Yeah, we did one of those for one of our giveaways a few months ago. So if you'd like to see the build on that, it's over on our YouTube. I'm sure you can see it there.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, you should head on over to our YouTube channel to catch up on all of our latest builds, and of course, take a look at our special editions that we have done for multiple different people. All of our shows are archived there, so definitely check it out. It's CLX Gaming on YouTube. Mercane Rain says, I want the Sakura one. Yes. We had that at PAX West, is when we featured that. In fact, find Nicole here. She made the booth just ridiculously colorful. We had everything from plushies to it was all themed. The whole thing was themed. We even had a themed stream deck.
Oh, that's sick.
Like, oh yeah, no, it was like one of these, but it was all cherry blossom. I was like, what? How did you get that? She's like, I have my ways. Radical asked a very good question, so let's go ahead and talk about that. CLX Gaming will be at PAX East coming up in a few weeks over in Boston at the Boston Convention Center. What we're going to be on display, I think that we are holding on to that one, so it's a little bit of a secret. So once you if you're going to be there, definitely check us out. You'll see us running around in CLX gear all over the place. Just look for the lights shining off of my bald head, or go by the Intel booth. But we will be there, and definitely come up, say hi. We'd love to meet all of you. All right. So Zach, next process.
All right.
What are we doing next?
Plugging everything into the power supply and then making it look pretty.
Awesome.
Well,
now,
even more pretty.
Right. One thing I do want to point out that is consistent with all of the builds that you see us put together here on the stream, as well as everything that's already in our ready to ship category. Paul, what happens once a computer is assembled at CLX?
Yeah, so any machine that we do, whether it just be a customer build, a giveaway build, a show build, anything like that, as soon as it's done being assembled, we'll take it into our testing and integration department. We do a few things there. So starting out, we get into the BIOS, and that's where we'll make sure our RAM speed is set correctly. If there's any other settings we need to adjust in there, we'll do that. If the system's overclocked, that's where we will apply the overclock. And then after that's all set, we'll load the operating system and any other things the customer would like us to. And then once that's been done, we do a 12-hour burn-in. So we have various benchmarking softwares we use. We like to run 3D Mark, FurMark, Prime 95 on some systems. But we like to burn the system in for 12 hours. And that allows us to find out if we got a faulty component, it usually is going to break there. So if maybe we got a bad stick of RAM, usually we're going to catch that within that 12-hour burn-in, and that allows us to make sure that you get a stable system delivered to you.
Yeah, which is amazing and something that I have not seen any other company do. The other cool thing about these machines and every machine that you buy from CLX Gaming is it comes with a basic 1-year warranty. You can get up to 3 years. And when I say basic, that simply means that that 1 year is for parts. Okay, 1, 2, or 3 years for parts. But the labor and the technical support are free for life.
Mm-hmm.
For life. If you have questions about your PC, how to upgrade your PC, you're thinking of swapping something out that came in your build, give us a call. We're here to help. We can walk you through the steps in the process, make sure that you're getting something that is compatible for your PC, and assist in making sure that it gets up to the next level.
Yeah, our support staff is all gamers. So if if there's a game you're trying to hit and maybe struggling with it, they'll know. So just let them know, and they'll definitely get you set up.
Need some higher FPS? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as all of the events, yeah, we are at a lot of different places. In fact, that's where I met CLX, was my first DreamHack. And then I brought them on tour with us for Outpost Discovery with Halo, and they go to Comic-Cons, DreamHack, the PAXs, all the PAXs, which now there are only 2 here. Because PAX South, rip, sad.
Aww.
I loved PAX South because of the food that was there. Oh God, yeah. Halo Outpost was a blast. I'm really happy with the fact that I got to do that right before the entire world decided to crap the bed. Fortnite's performance on the green PC good. Here's the thing you can do, and this is what's really interesting, is on the website you'll see there's a 3D mark that is logged for each of these PCs, and it will give you, the baseline that we use is Fortnite, and on the 3D mark, for example, this PC's 3D mark will, whoopsie. There we go. Gotta get back to the link. What did I do? Nope. I need to put the link in there again because I'm a dummy and I clicked on the wrong tab. Be a professional, DJ. God. There we go. Oh, no, I was just on the wrong browser. I'm an idiot. There it goes. For example, this can play at 1080p. This PC right here will run Fortnite at 1080p at 375 FPS. At 1440, which is what I game in, that'll run it at 225 FPS. And now some people love 240 gaming. I prefer 144 as my baseline, although I'm excited to be able to finally go higher than 144 because right now I have to turn my settings down on my PC to get 144, which is unfortunate. But I'm also running on a much older system. It's an i9 9900K with an RTX 2070. So, and I've got RAM, but it's not fast RAM. However, I do everything on my M.2s, and anybody who's never used an M.2, that's that little stick of gum looking hard drive. The difference in loading times for me, especially with Rainbow Six Siege, are just night and day. From having it on a solid state versus having it on an M.2, absolute difference. I was blown away. Alt tab is your saving grace? Yeah, well, my ADD kicked in and all of a sudden I just started clicking everything. Couldn't get it together. Almost stable for frame. Pray it's 30 but better. Yes. I'll be honest, when I switched from console to PC, I discovered the joys of higher FPS, and that smoothness made me a more accurate and consistent player. So Dirt Yankee, that is an excellent question. Hopefully I haven't missed any questions yet. Dirty Yankee asks, would you recommend an SSD compared to an HDD? Paul?
1000% yes. If your budget can afford it. The difference in speed coming from an HDD to an SSD, whether it be 2.5 inch or M.2, is just crazy fast. So, you know, we all remember our older PCs before SSDs existed. When you'd boot them up, you know, you'd hit the power button, you could walk away for a few minutes while your machine booted up. Well, now with a 2.5 inch or even these blazing fast M.2s, you turn your PC on and you're at your home screen in seconds, like literally seconds. So that's the biggest advantage in my opinion. Now they obviously are more expensive, but you definitely get what you pay for there. And like you mentioned, DJ, with having like a game that you play the most on your SSD, just cutting down on those load screens, like it's huge.
Yeah.
All right,
in fact, I'm gonna go look at a ready to ship build real quick and see what we've got for. Let's go with a Horus. Nope, that's not how it's organized. That's not how it's organized.
So we're throwing our cable management panel on right now. We've got everything installed and we'll be putting panels on and good to turn this thing on.
Sweet. Let's see here. So for example, there is an $869 Intel Core i5 RTS2 that's in a white, looks like that is a white Vantex micro tower, or it's a Sphinx.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Sphinx looks great.
Yeah, the Sphinx is a great build. It's $869.99 right now, and at 1080p will run Fortnite at 170 FPS. That's wicked. Wicked.
That is.
Yeah. So, and that comes with a 1 terabyte NVMe M.2. It's got a Radeon RX 6400 4 gig in it. It'll run it. Do you mind? Do they stream all build orders? Hi, Cherryful, and no, we don't. Not necessarily. When it's not a giveaway build or a custom build because we've got some brand new piece of equipment that we want to showcase, then it is for whoever's orders are on deck. That way, we don't risk delaying anybody's build that they order. And hopefully one of these days we're gonna end up building somebody's system who's actually in chat, and that would be amazing.
That would be sick.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any codes to post today because we haven't launched the giveaway. We're gonna do that next week. Can I tell them what the graphics card is gonna be for next week? Just a little teaser. I'll wait for production to let me know. But all right, so we've heard about it, you've seen ads about it, and they have been at everything from PAX to TwitchCon to E3 to CES with these, and they're amazing. I've had a chance to play on them, and I was fascinated by how quiet, how small, and how much power they had. We're going to be doing our first Intel Arc video card-based system as our giveaway for Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
And if you haven't seen one of these, they are wild. And I'm excited to be able to talk about them on Tuesday and to really showcase showcase them. I would also like to say thank you to Lian Lee for making everybody sweat when they try and pull off the plastic from that glass.
Dude, no kidding.
It is
It's
the
insane.
most stressful thing ever. You can hear it still coming off. You good down there, bud?
Yeah, cut to 5 minutes later.
Right, right. The sound is very ASMR. Oh, so talk about that. Those are the vents that are the air's pulling in through. How do those work?
So these are our magnetic filters on our back panel. Just like the top, they just pull off like this. They're magnetic. So like we showed, our intake right here, so that's filtered. And then like we mentioned too, our power supply that's in the back, the air going into that will also be filtered.
Gotcha. Zack has finally come up for air. That's awesome. So that just slides onto place right there.
Sure.
Another reason that I love these is because they're slide on. I know that my glass side panel has 2 giant holes in it because you have to screw mounts in them. These are just slide-ons. They're great.
Yeah, I love this case design. And then the way that it all locks in is the top panel just lays over where those even slide out. So there's no way they can come off with the top panel on.
Right.
And we're just getting this panel wiped down.
Sherry Full says, true PC ASMR. You know, it's like honestly, if I wanted to do something absurd, I would do an ASMR bubble wrap popping
There you go.
stream.
We've got a ton of bubble wrap, so we could send you some. We do a 12-hour bubble wrap popping stream.
We had to move when I was working for a company, and we had to move our entire warehouse, and the one thing that we didn't get a chance to move was our stand, our bubble wrap stand. So we're waiting for the truck to get back. The other guy's warehouse literally bubble wrapped me in T-pose.
Oh my god.
Just like everything from my arms all the way up to my neck in bubble wrap.
That's awesome. We got this new machine in shipping not that long ago where you get like the plastic just on a roll that's not inflated, and it rolls around and inflates. And so I like to mess with the shippers and go over there and kick it on when nobody's going. It'll just run until it runs out. We'll end up using it, but it's just funny to leave it on going.
Deadeye says that polished metal is so aesthetically pleasing. You are absolutely right. Boppin' Lockin has, hold on, let's see here. Says, so, okay, instead of PC Part Picker, please don't yell, please. He says, I'm choosing this website, giving a try. Got a 649 CLX set, first popped up. Wanting to know if I've been playing all around, but main focus is on simulator games, like Kenshi, RPG, with worlds bigger than Morrowind, and a ton more that aren't any of the games you've been comparing. So what game should I compare heaviness to for the best for myself? And don't worry, that's an excellent question, because you know that those games function very differently from FPS, from first-person shooters. Paul, what would you suggest, and how do you feel that would build out?
Yeah, so on games like that, you know, I'd go with a mid-tier CPU and then at least a 3060 or a higher video card. I would definitely recommend, you know, going to each of those games you plan on playing, look at their minimum specs and recommended. And then I would, if your budget can allow for it, I would go for just above that recommended. If budget's not an option, then, you know, go a little bit overkill. That way you're, you know, set on anything, you know, for a long time in the future too. But if you still have any more, you know, if you're still not sure, there should be a chat box that pops up. That'll be real people. You can tell them exactly what game you're looking for and the hardware you're thinking about, and, you know, build a PC that's like really designed for exactly what you're trying to do.
And I see the 649 that you're looking at, and it's also AMD. If as far as a comparable AMD Radeon card that would balance out to equivalent of a 360 or a 3060 or 3070, what would you suggest?
So there's a few options right now. Depends on what you're currently going with. Probably a 6700 or a 7700. That might be a little bit higher than a 3060. You just kind of have to see there and see exactly what that game needs. Yeah.
And of course, different cases have different options for different cards, just because they can't, you know. So play around with it, see what you can do. You can come up with. We've also got all sorts of sales. We've got Dilly70 says, what would you, Dilly71 says, what would you all recommend for an Escape from Tarkov build?
I haven't played any Escape of Tarkov, actually. I was huge into PUBG, but I kind of fell out of that, so I haven't done that. But yeah, I mean, once again, I'd stick with, you know, a mid-tier Ryzen 5 or an i5. You could definitely, you know, bump that up if you go to 7 or i7 there if you wanted to. And then I would go for a standard 3060 on that build. You know, it really depends on what kind of monitor you have, what settings are you wanting to run at, what, you know, your resolution, all that stuff.
It happened. For the first time, Ripped BG Bradley. This is from South Carolina. This is your PC, GG, dude.
Awesome.
Woohoo! Finally,
well, welcome,
you
Bradley.
How long we've been waiting for it to happen. Yep.
This is awesome.
There we go.
You're the first one.
So, yeah, you'll be able to come back and take a look at all the assembly, everything that we talked about on the show in the VOD or over on our YouTube channel, which is rocking. That's amazing. That's a first. We've been honestly. So, can we ask a question? Because it's a question we've been wanting to ask for every build we come up with. So, Bradley, are you going to be using this for gaming, for streaming? Is this going to be for design? If you're okay with us asking that question.
Yeah, and while you're getting a response, congrats on this build. I love your fan selection. I have the blue Thermaltakes in my case at home. I love it. And
J Money says, how can I win a PC on here? Mine just broke. Oh, no. I'm really sorry. And Bradley says, yes, gaming. J Money, we give away one every month. Next Tuesday is when we're going to be building ours. It's going to have the brand new Arc technology by Intel for the graphics. It's going to be wicked. You definitely want to drop in on that one. You might try to stream. Well, I'll say that's definitely a powerful enough system to pull it off.
Yeah, you've got a beast of a machine here. You can do anything you want with this.
Especially, we were talking about the cooling choices that you made. This whole thing looks great, and we're about to have the moment of truth. So, are we ready to try this out?
Yeah, we're making sure this other camera's set up real quick. Give us just a second here. We got to make the glamour shot beautiful.
Absolutely. Dude, I'm so excited. Finally, we had somebody come in to see their build.
Yeah, this is awesome.
There it is. Oh, that looks wicked.
Yeah, the LEDs on the fans, I just love it.
That's blue. There it is.
There we go.
Look at that. Absolutely incredible. Let's cover one more time what's inside Bradley's monster PC. Oh, nope, that is... Again, I'm doing so well today. This is going to have an AMD Ryzen 9 7950X processor, 16 cores and 32 threads, mounted to an Asus ROG Crosshair X670E Hero motherboard, which is the first time we've ever worked with that one, so thank you for ordering that because it was really cool. 32 gigs of DDR5 5200 RAM in two 16-gig sticks, plus an Nvidia GeForce RTX 4080 16-gig graphics card. The operating system is mounted on a 1 terabyte Samsung 980 M.2 NVMe SSD, and your backup, your secondary drive for all of your data is a 2 terabyte Samsung 870 QVD that's mounted in your hot swap bay. This is cooled by a CLX Quench 360 closed loop liquid cooler and 10 Thermaltake ring fans that are 120 millimeters each, and they're all green. Absolutely awesome. The power is coming from a 1000-watt Gigabyte UD 1000 GM 80+ gold power supply, and this is all coming together in a CLX sarcophagus packaging. So congratulations. Absolutely epic. Thanks for stopping in. Congratulations to Willow Bard for winning. I know that she's driving right now, but and I'm sure she's just jazzed as all heck. So with that being said, we are going to go through a couple more things and then we'll move on. This show happens every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 2 Eastern, where we go into our main build show. Then we take a small break like we're about to do, and when we come back, our master builder, Zack, is going to take you through a couple new builds and be able to answer your technical questions at the same time. You can follow us and find out all about what's going on with our next giveaway and just what's going on with CLX Gaming in general at CLX Gaming on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Discord. That's discord.gg/CLX Gaming, where our community sits and exists. And you can also find us both Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on CLX Gaming TV on Twitch. So with that being said, congratulations everyone, and thank you so much on behalf of Jason and Kyle in production, Paul and Zach. I'm DJ BluePDX. Thanks so much for watching, and don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.